Alrighty, good morning. Just want to go over something real quick. Let me grab a flashlight here. I had a issue with trying to get my timing straightened out. That's what kind of got me into doing this whole project to begin with. And it started backfiring and everything. And I figured out, well, I thought at first that maybe I jumped a tooth on my timing chain because it was, I don't know, this is 1974, and I don't know, if it ever been worked on. At that point I didn't, and after getting in there and looking at it, it's like it's obvious it's never been worked on. So in the midst of that, I just pulled the distributor. I had to start from scratch, go with, I had to refine cylinder number 1, top dead center, on the compression side. And so when you put these, let me get down here where I can shine a light. When you put these on, these timing gears, normally, you rotate it so you got it, let me see if I can get my finger out of the way, dot to dot. That's 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on the upper flywheel, or not flywheel, but the upper cam gear. And on the crank gear, I got the dots. I got one of those double roller style that has multiple keyways, as you can see from there, and there's one on the bottom too. And if you want to retard or advance, I don't know if you can see the dot on there. I just kind of put a little ink on there. But what I run into, and plus you got this pin right here, that there's only one way to put that gear on. It's just making sure the chains mesh. I rotated it multiple times, make sure everything lined up. And I even went over here, pulled the spark plug out of number 1, and made sure it blew out on the compression side, not the exhaust side. But it's kind of confusing for people when they do these timing chains, that it winds up, you hear dot to dot. But that is, great if you have a distributor or don't have a timing, issue, so to speak. But if you ever have to pull that distributor out, you'll want to, let me get up here right. You'll want to go on ahead and you can check it yourself, but the number, let me see if I can do this with my flashlight. The number 1 exhaust is here. The number 1 intake is here, and you have to wait till the intake is closing for it to be the compression and power, and then it goes back to exhaust. So for that to happen, the mark is going to be at the top. So 12 to 12 is actually where you should have, 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock is where you should actually have number 1. And you'll see, let me come over here. And I had to double check. It's been so many years since I had to do this. And anytime I ever pulled a distributor and dropped it back in, it was usually I had nothing else had been disturbed. I hadn't cranked it or nothing with the distributor out. But it should point towards number 1, which it almost does. It's a little bit past on the dots. But, there's also a lot of flexibility in this. And if you're a tooth off, you can pull it out and reset it, and it may drop over here. And then to me, it wasn't close enough to number 1 on that side either, so I just put it right here. The other way would be over here. But there is an easy way to get the teeth off too. But as long as you get in that general vicinity, this usually points towards number 6, and this should kind of angle towards number 1. A lot of times people mark it. But that's as close as this is going to get. And I do have marks. Excuse the mess. I've been kind of playing with all kinds of stuff. I don't know if you can see. There is actual hash marks right there on the distributor and on the block itself. So that's actually where the factory had it set to begin with, as far as this piece. And so I'm going to line that up, tighten it down snugly, just enough to where I can make sure that it's not going to jump or anything. And that's my other fear, is I might have jumped the distributor, but it was never that loose. And I know you can get the roll pin on the gear sheared, but mine's intact. So I think my issue was the timing was so far out that it just I couldn't get it under control, and it looked like when I pulled this out, the needle hadn't moved. So where number 1 should be, like right now, it was in a different position. So I don't know. That's what was causing that banging up here. I hope I didn't do any serious damage to it. Now I'll know once I get it running again. But as far as I know, everything's back together the way it should be. I'm going to try to link in where I actually am really covering this on my YouTube channel in a different video, but I'll probably patch this into that video. anyways, I just wanted to go over that. If you ever have that issue where you're doing a timing chain, they're not hard to do. You get in there, the only thing I fear is oil leaks, you know, from the timing chain cover, which, you know, if you look down over here, let me get back to here. Excuse me. There's this lip right here, all the way along there. That's, you don't really, you got a rubber gasket that goes on your oil pan, or the timing chain cover, to the oil pan, and you got to make sure you get stuff down up inside here. Let's change my light, you know, because oil will seep out. And you know, I think I'll be all right. I kind of cleaned up as best I could. It's, you know, a little, there's no gasket, it's just kind of stained. I'm gonna use a little Scotch-Brite again to go over it before I do the gasket. But what I did here, I need to make a wire will got in there. I need to make sure those wires didn't expose anything, maybe cover them back up. But anyways, I just wanted to cover that. You know, if you ever do a timing chain, yeah, you'll go ahead and line your dots up. But if you wind up pulling your distributor, you're going to want to run this 12 o'clock on the crankshaft gear and 12 o'clock on the timing gear. I mean, that's just to find number one. You know, when you install these, you can do it however you want, as long as, you know, because it's only going to go one way. Just put this back on and make sure you rotate it a couple times and that the dots line up when they get down here. That's just, you know, basically to know that it's actually timed. But for actually finding number one and dropping it in your distributor, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Anyways, thanks. I'll try to post more videos as I get this thing put back together. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Here's where I'm at. Still a mess. Still not working. I run into issues. Kind of thought I would, but you know, wasn't sure until you got into it. I got the cover on. And boy, I thought, you know, I did a dry run without the gaskets, without any sealant, and it popped on there. And of course, when I put the gasket, there's a little rubber seal that goes in the bottom there to the oil pan. Oh man, I couldn't hardly get that thing together. And you know, sometimes you gotta drop the bolts on the oil pan and lower that down a little bit. And that's what I wound up having to do. And it bothered me. I had to put some stuff here and there. Hopefully it doesn't leak. We'll see. You know, it is what it is. Do what I can do. I wound up breaking one of the bolts on the oil pan itself. Hopefully that didn't cause any leaks. I have a feeling I'm going to be pulling that oil pan down the road, and I'm going to put new gasket on it. For now, you know, it gets me back on the road. So, and you know, while I was crawling around underneath there, I found some other stuff. It's probably going to need to be fixed. I'm going to go ahead and, once I get it running, go get it inspected, see if they catch that stuff. They probably will. It's bushings and stuff. I'm going to probably have to replace them. Shouldn't be too bad. I'm not going to say it's easy, because so far nothing's really been easy. I mean, these are, thank God, these older vehicles are easier to work on than the new ones, but still, it's like you got to remember all this stuff you used to know. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, went to auto tech, you know, during high school in the, you know, the mid 80s, and so yeah, I just it's hard to remember all this stuff. Anyways, I did a little clip about the timing chain marks. I'm going to add that to this. It'll be before this. We'll see how it turns out when I put it all together on one big video. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of give a heads up on where I was at. Yeah, I had to drain the oil, and of course, it's stuffing everywhere. Alright, better grab that. And I'm going to have to go get some oil. I'm going to go get a harmonic balancer press. Well, they call it a harmonic balancer drive bolt, I guess. It goes on the end of the crankshaft and helps you pull the harmonic balancer off. You're not really supposed to beat on that, so when you put it on there, it'll drive it on. Yeah, I got cut. It'll drive on there, so you shouldn't beat those on. It's not good on the bearings, it's not good on the shaft. And I'll probably anesthese it. I'll anesthese the harmonic balancer, and then I'll go on ahead and put some Loctite in the bolt. But well, that's that. I'll go ahead and get off here, and I'll do another recap when I'm on the next step. Thanks for watching.